What's goody? Hey man, sorry about no video for a couple days for y'all, man. As y'all can probably hear in the background right now, y'all hear my daughter's like music from her toys playing and everything like that. And y'all are gonna see me keep kind of looking up and past the screen a little bit towards her. It's just because I'm watching her play in her playpen because I've started to realize that now as she gets older, she's taking less naps throughout the day, but then also I'm home alone watching her for most of the days. It's just gonna have to be. I'm gonna have to start recording these while she plays, and I try not to do that because sometimes, obviously, she's a baby. She can get a little loud while she plays, but in those moments, I'm either gonna have to just try to cut that out, or maybe like edit it to where the sound in the background isn't as loud, or we're just gonna have to push through it, and y'all are gonna have to just. I'm sorry, deal with me and love me anyway, because I mean, I want to get these videos out for y'all, and I want to get these videos out for y'all, and I want to entertain y'all and do whatever it is that God put me on this earth to do. And if that's spreading His gospel through this platform, then I want to do that. Don't get me wrong. So I'm gonna have to start doing it, whether she wants to sleep or not, whether she wants to, whatever she, because if she's playing and she's over there content and I can see her and I'm doing my job as a father, then nothing else matters. So, anyways, hopefully y'all are good with this. Hopefully y'all can't even hear the music in the background. Hopefully everything's copacetic. But to get into the bulk of today's video, I want to talk about the Kansas City Chiefs, because if you're somebody that has watched my NFL picks and predictions throughout the entirety of this season, I genuinely don't know that I picked against the Chiefs once. And you can say that's glazing, but here's the way I put it. There are certain players that are so transcendent in sports that no matter who you're playing on any given week or any given game, I'm not going to pick against you. I'm either just not going to make a pick or I'm going to back your team just because you're on it. And those guys include people like Steph Curry, who I've seen win too many improbable games for me to count him out no matter what, even in spite of what's going on right now. Nikola Jokic, who I've seen do the same thing, and I'm talking about on the biggest stages too. LeBron James, Tom Brady. These are certain players that no matter who they, Michael Phelps, Usain Bolt, these are certain players in the sport. Tiger Woods, that no matter who they are going up against, no matter who else is in the match with them, no matter who else is in the game with them, no matter who else they might be facing off against, I'm not betting against them. Patrick Mahomes, at the age of 27, 28, 29, whatever he is already on that list for me, and he's been on that list not just now, he's been on that list for probably at least 3 or 4 years. We are sitting here right now, and for the first time in the entirety of this man's career as a starter, not only are they not making the playoffs, they're not. I mean, not only are they not making the AFC Championship, they're not making the playoffs. Do you know how insane it is for your first 6 or 7 years as a starter in the NFL, you make it to the AFC Championship game at the very minimum every single time? You come out of there with 3 Super Bowls. In an era with Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Matthew Stafford in the NFC, Tom Brady when you were first starting, you got the 49ers to always deal with. Like, you have all these guys in the league. The Patriots are coming back now. And that man was, and the Eagles, who they faced in the Super Bowl twice. And I've still seen them do too much. So, I understand that things look terrible for the Kansas City Chiefs right now. I understand that it's everybody in the world's making fun of them right now, and everybody in the world's off of them right now, and I understand why. That team has been dominating the world, in the football world, for the last 5-6 years. When the Golden State Warriors finally fell in 2019, a lot of fans, while they were upset that they fell because of injuries, they were happy that they finally fell. That's just how it is. People love to cheer you when you start a dynasty, but they love to cheer the same way when they see that dynasty fall. The thing with the Chiefs, though, I don't believe the dynasty's fallen. The only way that I believe that I will be able to 100% confidently say that dynasty has fallen is if some things happen in this offseason that I think might happen, or if one guy leaves. And I would be willing to argue that even if the 2 guys that I think leave that I think are going to leave, I would argue that the dynasty doesn't stop with them, because as long as 1-5 is back there, I would argue that the dynasty doesn't stop until he retires or leaves Kansas City. I don't care if they don't. Now, obviously, if they don't win again for the next 10 years, the dynasty stopped. But I'm not ready to sit here and say the dynasty's over because they missed the playoffs this year and because Patrick Mahomes is going to miss but probably at least half of next year's season. I'm not ready to say that dynasty's over, because what happens when you lose? You get higher picks, right? Do they have their own picks? Because I haven't seen anyone tell me anything about them not having their own pick for this year or next year. So immediately right now, I'm telling you, this year they're missing the playoffs, and then next year they're probably going to miss it too, because Patrick Mahomes is going to miss at least half of the season probably. So they're going to get 2 of the 2 top picks in back-to-back drafts to replace the potential losses that they're going to have to retirement, money issues, or age, whatever the hell else, free trade, free agency, whatever the hell else might happen. You're telling me that in 2027, Patrick Mahomes is going to be out for... I mean, you're telling me that next season, Patrick Mahomes is going to be out for maybe the entirety of the season, and Jeremiah Smith is in that next draft class, and you're telling me that Patrick Mahomes could be coming back in 2027 with Jeremiah Smith as his wide receiver 1? You're telling me that? The first thing that I thought to my homie when I'm sitting there watching the game, I immediately I'm thinking, okay, what's up with Chris Jones? What's up with Travis Kelce? What's up with Andy Reid? What happens to those 3 players? And then you immediately start thinking, hold on. Patrick Mahomes gets hurt. You hope he's all well. And prayers up to Patrick Mahomes. When I was watching that game and I saw that injury, I knew it was serious because Patrick Mahomes isn't the type of guy that's just going to lay down on the field and just kind of give up and not try to play again. So I was like, okay, it must be serious. Because with the playoffs on the line, 2 minutes left in the game, I've never in my life seen Patrick Mahomes just sit down and not try to at least get back up and limp his way back onto playing. I've seen him do it too many times, so I was kind of shocked he didn't. But I was nowhere near expecting an ACL. When I saw Michael Parsons' injury, I knew it was an ACL right away. My homie thought Achilles because he saw the shin pop, and I was like, no, bro, trust me, this is ACL. I like the way it bent, that's ACL. There are certain injuries that when you see him, you know him. And when I saw Patrick Mahomes, I didn't even think it was anything bad. So for that to be an ACL injury is so insane. I am praying for you. I saw your tweet and everything like that. Got a lot of likes and everything like that. I hope you recover soon and everything like that. Because that is insane. The NFL has something that has to do something with these injuries because him, Micah, Devontae pulls his hamstring on the same day. Christian Watson dies damn near on that pick that Pat Surtain had on the same day. Rashee Rice got smacked in the face like 10 times in the same day. Like, I'm just watching all these guys, and I felt like Sunday was just a very physical / injury day of football. Like, there was a lot of big hits, and I felt like there was a lot of injuries, and those two things weren't necessarily coming at the same time. But anyways, back to the Kansas City Chiefs. I think the biggest question the Chiefs has to ask here is, what do you do now? Because for as long as you have 1-5 at the QB spot, you feel confident that you have a chance to win no matter what, and I completely agree with you. But at a certain point, y'all been throwing 1-5 back there for a couple years now, kind of just saying, take us to glory. And I think it's about time that y'all get back to the kind of that 2018 type of thing where y'all have an actual really, really good team around Mahomes. Because I remember Mahomes taking a pay cut when he first signed his first contract his like first one after his rookie deal, so that you could give max money to guys like Chris Jones and stuff like that. So I'm gonna need Kansas City's front office to go out there and help him. Because when we've seen similar things happen in the NFL, we saw it happen to Tom Brady. We saw Tom Brady win 3 Super Bowls, and then in week 1 of the NFL season, he tears the ACL, he comes back, and over the next 10, 15 years, he wins 4 more Super Bowls and becomes the greatest quarterback of all time. Granted, he had Bill Belichick for 3 more of those Super Bowls. Andy Reid's probably not sticking around for 3 more Super Bowls. I don't know that he's got that left in him. But that's Patrick Mahomes. And I genuinely believe that if you can build him a competent team, you have a better chance than anyone else, just with a competent team, let alone a superstar roster. You go get one of them rosters that Baltimore had last year, or something like that, and Patrick Mahomes might throw for 5 million yards and 5 billion touchdowns in a season. You go get him an 07 Patriots offense where he has Randy Moss or something. You were to go get him JSN or Puka or something right now, or Justin Jefferson out of Minnesota right now, and we're looking at the greatest quarterback wide receiver duo of all time immediately. So I definitely think there are avenues for the Chiefs to get better, but I think you have to ask those 3 major questions first. What happens with Chris Jones? Because I'm not even sure what his contract situation is, but he's 31 years old. Does he retire soon? Travis Kelce, you haven't looked like yourself for 2 years. I think it was time for you to hang it up after the Super Bowl last year. I think you've been even worse this year. I think it's time for you to hang it up. If you don't retire, there's no reason for you not to retire, because what are you going to do? If you don't retire, you're going to come back next year, play for an ass team, and then you're going to come back and try to play with Mahomes again? Or what are you going to do? You're going to leave the Chiefs? No, you're not. You're going to retire. The big one, though, does Andy Reid retire? And I think the big question after that is, if he does, who do you get? Because there's no immediate Andy Reid replacement. You're not going to go bring in Bill Belichick. There's no guy that you look at in the NFL landscape and you say, I want him to be my Andy Reid replacement right now. So I think that's a really, really big thing for them, too, is if Andy Reid does retire, how do you replace him? Because you can replace Travis Kelce a lot easier than you can replace Andy Reid. No disrespect to Travis Kelce. Patrick Mahomes don't need the greatest tight end of all time right now. He needs more than that. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't, and I'm talking about Travis Kelce at his peak. You could argue he was the best tight end of all time. That's why I said that. Obviously, right now, he's not even the best in his division. But I just think the Chiefs, after you get to those questions, I low-key think people are overreacting. Because once you get past those 3 big questions of what are you going to do with these pillar type of guys, you have young players. Trent McDuffie is young and one of the best corners in the league. Rashee Rice is a young emerging receiver. Hollywood Brown is a young deep threat receiver. Thornton's a deep threat. If you didn't like Marquise Brown, you could go get rid of him and go get someone else that fits your system more, because I feel like y'all never use Marquise Brown when he is healthy, and he don't be healthy that often. Let me think. I feel like there was something else I had. Oh, yeah. When you go to the O-line, I think that's the biggest thing. But then that's where those picks come in, because the Kansas City Chiefs are a team that drafted guys like Trey Smith, and I believe they drafted Joe Tooney. And even if they didn't, they had these offensive linemen that were such staples. And Trey Smith is still there, and he's still young. He's like 26 years old. But they had these offensive linemen that were like staples that made it so much less pressure on Mahomes. And I think that's the biggest thing. I think if you didn't go get another receiver right now, I think if all that happened when Patrick Mahomes is ready to come back is that Travis Kelce retired, you had a new tight end in there, and everything else was the same, except you got better offensive line reinforcements, I think you win the Super Bowl the same year. If you can go on into the draft and over these next couple picks that you have, if you can just address running back, offensive line, maybe get a safety blanket at tight end in case Travis Kelce retires, or if he does retire, you go use one of those top picks for a tight end or something, you're good. You don't need to do anything crazy on the defense. The defense is solid. Now, if you lose Chris Jones, you're going to have to do something to try to replace the best player on your defense. But you don't have to go out there and do a massive defensive overhaul. You have Drew Tranquil for now, who's good. George Karlaftis for now, who's good. Trent McDuffie, who I already mentioned, who's good. Like, you have defensive players who are good, who are young, who are talented. The question is, how are you going to help Mahomes? Because that defense is cool and everything, and that defense helped them in a lot of times last year. That's why they were like 12-1 in one-score games, is because offense would play terrible the whole game. Defense would get them to get them to where they had a chance, and Mahomes would just drive down the field at the end of the game, and they would win it every single time. Well, this year it's been a similar recipe, except Mahomes hasn't been able to just drive down the field and win it every single time for him anymore. So if the defense is doing the same thing it's been doing last year for the most part, now the stats are probably a little bit worse because the offense is worse, so the defense has to stay out there longer, but schematically and just in terms of concept, the defense is doing pretty much the exact same thing that this defense has always done under Steve Spagnuolo, which is give you a chance. They're not going to let you get destroyed. They're not going to give up 40 balls. They're always going to keep it a close game no matter how bad your offense is. And the difference this year is that the offense couldn't overcome it. Patrick Mahomes played badly this year. Patrick Mahomes has not had his best year this year. Do not get me wrong at all. But would you have your best year if your two tackles are the most penalized tackles in the league? Would you have your best year if your left guard, Joe Tooney, who left your team, is now in Chicago, rated as a 95 on Madden, absolutely hooping for Caleb Williams? Would you be having your best season? When Rashee Rice is suspended for the first 6 weeks of the season, Xavier Worthy gets killed by his own teammate in week 1, and Travis Kelce drops every single ball that's thrown to him when there's a defender within 5 feet of him, and half the time when he drops it, he pops it up, right, so Derwin James can go pick it. What did you want the man to do? I'm genuinely asking. His running backs are Isaiah Pacheco and Kareem Hunt, who average like 3 yards per carry at the best. What did you want him to do? Is all I'm asking. All I'm saying is there are avenues for the Kansas City Chiefs to be right back into contention that I think are much simpler and more self-explanatory in terms of just, I feel like as an NFL GM, I feel like if you're competent and have common sense, the Chiefs' job over the next couple of years should be one that you have should be one that you look at and be like, okay, it's tough because it's always tough to try to get a dynasty back to winning, but it's possible because you have that guy. When you had LeBron in 2018, sure, the team was terrible, but you always thought it was possible if you just did your job to the most minimal extent because you had him. When you have Steph Curry in 2022, you go trade for Andrew Wiggins, and that's all the help that he needed to get you to that ring. So when you have these transcendent players, oftentimes it doesn't take you building the all-stars around them. It takes you giving them some confidence. It takes you giving them some teammates they have confidence in. It takes you giving them some teammates they can trust. It takes you giving them some teammates that isn't going to get a false start, a holding, or get them killed on every single drop back. It's going to take an offensive line that can actually block and get the running backs more than 3 yards per carry. It's going to take running backs that can be explosive, that can catch passes, that can break tackles, outside of just running right through somebody, and even that doesn't work half the time, more than half the time for these guys. So when I look at the Chiefs, I look at this as an opportunity. I look at this as an absolutely massive opportunity to tank, to go get some linemen, to go get a receiver, to go get a tight end, to go get a running back, to go get these things throughout these first 4 rounds of the draft and get some guys that you really trust. Now, it's important because one thing that always happens with dynasties that I think goes underrated is the drafting. You have to hit on all these picks. You can't come out here and you hit on 2 linemen, but then you draft the tight end with with your first round pick and you miss on him. You can't do that. You have to hit on pretty much all of these things. And I think that's what keeps a dynasty a dynasty. That's why I'm a little worried about the Thunder, because the Thunder, I believe, have the potential to hit on these picks. That's why I'm a little worried about teams like the Rockets, because I think the Rockets, if they ever won it, had a chance to continue to do things by hitting on these picks. I think if the San Antonio Spurs did things, I think if they won it and they had to continue to have good picks, I think they could pick very good players. See, when the Warriors had it, they were picking Jonathan Kumingas and Moses Moody's, guys that weren't really going to help them. They were picking Eric Paschal's, and they were picking Quentin Post, guys that, okay, are solid, but guys that weren't really doing what they needed them to do. And Quentin Post had a good year last year, but look at him now. I'm watching every time I tune into a Warriors game, Trace Jackson Davis in that hoe. and they losing. So I don't know what they got going. All I'm going to say for the Kansas City Chiefs is this. If you're a Chiefs fan, first of all, you shouldn't be complaining about anything at all. I have seen your team get bailed out by the refs. I've seen your team do some absolutely improbable things. I have seen your team bring a fan base the absolute highest joys that they can have in the football world over the last couple of years. So you shouldn't be complaining about anything. But for the rest of the NFL world, to guys like Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, anybody that wants to win a Super Bowl, if your name is not Patrick Mahomes, if you're in the AFC especially, hey, you better do it now. Because you better pray to God Drake May don't end up being that boy like people think he is. Because if he is, that's going to put the Patriots right above the Bills too, and right above the Ravens too with the way they're playing. And then Kansas City's going to come back and be right back in there in that top two conversation just because we've seen him win so many times. So if you're the Bills, you better win it this year. And if you don't win it this year, you better pray Mahomes don't come back next year. Because as soon as he's back, that Super Bowl window, that white rabbit, he's going to come knocking. I promise you he will. Anyways, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Thank you for watching as always. I feel like I rambled on in this video and didn't say as much as I really wanted to. Didn't say as many things of substance as I really wanted to. Basically, what I have to say is the Chiefs have been an infuriating thing to watch. And I think there was a lot of change needed, especially just coming to as it comes to culture. I think this team was a little too cocky. I think they needed to be humbled. I think this team needed a reset. I think this team had players on it that got complacent. And I also think this team was just getting older and this team was not built well anymore. So while it's a disappointing end to an era, it's a phenomenal opportunity to make the next era just as great. If you're the Kansas City Chiefs and working in that front office. Now it'll be a tough job. I'm not sitting here and I'm saying that I have a 5-step plan that's just going to make the Kansas City Chiefs the greatest team of all time again. But what I am saying is there's worse jobs to have. You could be at that Raiders job right now. You could have that Browns job right now. There's worse jobs to have is all I'll say. Myles Garrett's going to win Defensive Player of the Year. He's nuts. NFL injuries are crazy. The Rams winning the Super Bowl. Great win against the Lions. Chiefs are out of the playoffs. Bills came back from down 21-0 to beat the Patriots. Anything else I'm missing that was big? The Broncos played a phenomenal game against the Packers. PS2 was maybe the best interception I've ever seen in my entire life live. Josh Jacobs with a great catch. I don't know. Basically, it was a great weekend of football the way I thought it would be. I'm going to record my NFL picks and predictions maybe today, maybe tomorrow because we're moving Thursday, Friday. So Thursday, we're packing up the truck. Friday, we're moving the truck into the new house. The thing is, we're supposed to get thunder snow like Thursday night and Friday morning. So I don't know how that's going to go. If y'all don't see videos, just know why. I'm fighting for my life moving. But y'all are going to see a video today, tomorrow, Thursday for sure because you're going to get this today, a quiz tomorrow, then my NFL picks Thursday, and then after that, if y'all don't hear from me for a couple days, just know it's because I am literally fighting for my life through snow and moving. Let me know what y'all think about the Chiefs. Let me know if y'all think the dynasty is over. Like I said, prayers up to Patrick Mahomes. Whether you love him, hate him, or feel indifferent about him, you can't. We don't want to see that on anybody, man. Same thing for Micah Parsons. Whether you love him, hate him, or indifferent about him, I, as somebody that's a big fan of both of these players, absolutely hate this. And I don't know, man. I understand it's a business, but at the same time, we can't keep preaching all this player safety and then keep extending how many games these guys are playing every season. All right, I love it. I appreciate y'all. Thank you for watching as always. Keep God first as always. All right, peace out.